A few years ago, I made a mistake and never reviewed that beloved jazz album by McKinley Dixon. So here I am to rectify that with a review of Magic Alive. I don't know why I didn't review it. I guess the name just sounded like a financial firm for some reason, and that bugged me, McKinley Dixon. When you need your savings to grow. I don't know. I don't know what their slogan is, but that's how it sounded to me. But I'm happy to be reviewing this. I usually don't watch other people's reviews of albums before I talk about them, but I did watch Fantano's, and he gave it a 9. So I was going to do something goofy and be like, make this whole thing structured around, does it deserve a 9? But yeah, it does. I mean, I don't really do great ratings or whatever, but it certainly makes sense, and I appreciate him doing that. But I have 2 points. Okay, I have 2 points I really want to hammer home today. Well, 3 really, but let's say 2. 1, the power of a loose concept album. Tight concept albums become, operas, become kind of, I don't know, a little what you kids call try hard, but loose concept albums, ooh, that's really beautiful. And the second thing is the rise of real instrumentation in rap music. That appears to be a moment. It seems as though something's happening, and maybe it's happening because we all know how easy it is to make AI. We all know how easy it is to replace musicians. So maybe we're hiring more musicians now. I don't know. I'm going to tell you a story at the end of the video about how I've listened to this album probably around 3 times as much as I usually do before a review, with maximum annoyance. I've never been more annoyed than when I was listening to this album. Not because of the music, but because of what I was doing. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who wants to talk about this idea of a loose concept album, but let's talk about what the loose concept is. It's a story, a short story, let's call it, of a guy and his friends. And they're remembering a dead friend, or one of those friends is dead, or the person who's telling the story is dead and resuscitated. It's something in the realm of childhood in the South with a friend who is resurrected. You can't really tell it there because it's green, but I got a copy of Frankenstein back there. So it's sort of about that, but it's a loose concept, right? So it's not like every single song is like, and then he puts him on the roof and does the magic and he gets struck by lightning and then the villagers come. No, it's all very loose. It's all thematic. It's a concept album, but it's really a theme album around the nature of loss, of childhood, loss of life, loss of innocence. It's really connected to family and the relationship that family has in this person's life. At times, it gives you sort of a Stephen King It vibe, a sort of Stranger Things vibe of like young kids 20, 30 years ago playing around and going through something really real, or maybe like that movie Dope, which is a really good movie. I hadn't seen it till recently. But let's put it in a larger context. Because I've talked about Southern Gothic quite a bit on this channel. I talked about it, obviously, talking about Wise Blood, Clipping, Ethel Cain. And I think this album is a good example of a kind of hip-hop Southern Gothic. So if you don't know what Southern Gothic is, that's why I'm here. Okay? That's why I'm here. I am going to be quoting Wikipedia, but don't worry, I did my research. I looked up who Wikipedia was quoting. They were quoting Bridget Marshall and her article, Defining Southern Gothic, Critical Insights from Salem Press. Okay? So this is a brief definition according to Bridget Marshall. A style of writing practiced by many writers of the American South, and this guy is from the South, he's from Virginia, whose stories set in the region are characterized by grotesque, macabre, or fantastic incidents. The settings of these works is distinctly Southern. Some of these characteristics include exploring madness, decay, despair, continuing pressures of the past upon the present, particularly with the lost ideals of a dispossessed Southern aristocracy and continued racial hostilities. So that's what I think this is. This fixation with the grotesque, a tension between the realistic and the supernatural elements, because we have essentially a zombie story, like a real zombie story, that back in the day, before zombies were co-opted by American culture. They were a part of Haitian culture, in which you resuscitate one person from death using magic, and then that person ends up working for you. It's a whole parable about slavery and then turned into a parable about consumerism in America. It's fine. All forms of zombies are interesting, but that's the original. This is basically a story of a zombie, of a reborn person. But when we talk about Southern Gothic, we're rarely talking about the work of black men, even though we're talking about the South, and we're talking a lot about the conflict, the racial conflicts. Often we're talking about white men like William Faulkner. If you've never read Absalom, do not read it as a book on tape. It won't make any sense. You got to read that. Or Flannery O'Connor. There's actually a lot of great female Southern Gothic writers, and there are great black female Southern Gothic writers. Obviously, Toni Morrison's Beloved is probably the greatest work in that genre. And we're kind of going through a moment here, because we also had all those references to Beloved on Gollywog by Billy Woods. So I don't know. Maybe this is interesting. Maybe this is a way of thinking about Southern Gothic from a black male standpoint. It's obsessed with the grotesque and the macabre and the Southern life, but from a different perspective. Now, just for fun, can we think of 3-6 Mafia and Ghetto Boys as being Southern Gothic? I don't know. I just know that I said Gothic, and I really don't like this new haircut. But you're just going to have to struggle through with me. Feel free to tell me in the comments what's going on over here. Why is it so doinky over here, and it's too long over here? It's all right. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to anyone who's celebrating. So, death of a friend, right? It's really about the magic of being alive. It's about the magic of making life as an artist, and it is so much about the relationship between this person and his family, his mother and his grandmother, and his grandfather. The reason that I love this loose concept idea is that it makes it free, so that there can be songs where he doesn't directly talk about the exact theme the entire time. He can kind of stray away, but you don't need like a libretto. You don't need to sit there and follow every single line and say, oh, this is character number 3. Character number 3 is upset at character number 2. I like stuff like that. That's fine, but it's a little constraining. I did not hear Fantano mention, nor have I seen anyone mention how Lupe-ish this album is, and I think maybe that's why it's so great, because Lupe Fiasco is the master of loose concepts album. Samurai was a loose concept album. Drill Music in Zion was a loose concept album. He's really able to use the structure of a concept without being indentured to it. Point number 2, live instrumentation. There is something happening between this, the new Little Sims, the next Kendrick album. I'm calling it right now. What time are we here in this video? We are 8 minutes and 3 seconds in. The next Kendrick Lamar album is going to be like that tiramisu. Shout out to Jeremy Hecht. It's going to be totally real live instrumentation. That appears to be at least a wave, if not the future of rap music, because we need more human involvement. And hell, even that new Open Mike Eagle single, which is great. And it's all produced by the two Sams, Sam Yamaha and Sam Koff. And much like the Little Sims project done by Questorco, they're able to get so much out of studio musicians. People who just like people who've practiced 10,000 hours and know how to do what they know how to do. Now listen, I love the history of hip-hop. I love that hip-hop is largely made by people who perhaps were overlooked by the music education system or didn't have access to the instruments, so learned how to make do with what they had. But I also like this, where we have professional musicians getting... Hey, Tyler, the Creator, also used a lot of real instrumentation on his last album. It's happening, everybody. Sorry, tell me in the comments, by the way, other recent live instrumentation rap albums. Don't you dare say Death Grips. I know. But Death Grips is like 11,000 years ago, everybody, all right? Tell me new stuff. I'm going to get a lot of people just trolling me. Sky, bruh, what about Death Grips? I know. Release the Skyder cut. So let me give you an example of what makes this album so delightful, so wonderful, with the track Crooked Stick featuring Alfred and Gaius Guevara. Just the hardest beat. It's so good. The horns, I've heard a lot of people compare this to the Roots, which I don't really hear. I mean, it's real instrumentation, so I guess that's kind of rootsy, but the way the horns are used here, the saxophone in the back, and this kind of like whiny dog sound. Alfred, I don't know Alfred. I don't, but he comes in super hard with this chorus. Boogie woogie wee to the beat that of the clocks tick tock. They just wanna like Rick Ross, bourgeois flip flops, give a fuck my pants like crisscross. The high ditty bitches dance along to our pish posh. Watch, you already know, brah yo with bitch watch. I ain't even hit the tip top. Do that little dance for TikTok. I love it. It's a simple hard chorus. Is it all about the themes of the Southern Gothic themes of life and death? Not really, but that's okay because this is not The Who. This is not Tommy or Quadrophenia. This is not Pink Floyd. This is not The Wall. This is Lupe Fiasco-ish concept albums. This is probably my favorite verse from the firm of McKinley Dixon. People you trust. Money you earn. Probably my favorite verse from McKinley Dixon. Who was that player on the Patriots who they called the law firm? Was it Ben Jarvis Green Ellis? Was that it? I think they called him the law firm because his whole name sounded like a law firm. We also had Lawyer Malloy, Scooter Magruder. Scooter Magruder sounds like a son of a bitch who like your uncle goes golfing with. Oh yeah, I went golfing with. Anyways, why the fuck am I talking about Scooter Magruder? It's Father's Day, everybody. I made waffles for my family. They were very good. I had to cut down on the baking soda because it was too baking soda tasting. Okay? Would have only been appreciated by Pusha T. Let's get back to my favorite verse from McKinley. I'm going to die a legend or I simply won't die at all. Stupid. The way he says stupid is great. And I think he's singing from the perspective of Frankenstein's monster, of the zombie who's been reborn. I'm a die a legend or I simply won't die at all. I love that line. That's how I feel about death. I'm never going to die at all or I'm going to die a legend. Touching my face, shit, man, I guess I survived. Turn to my and I yell, it seems the curse been defined. My skin can make the living dead or dead come alive. Might put an OG on this beat, watch his career get revived. So it's like simultaneously about his prowess as a rapper, plus about this magic, this resuscitation, this incantation. And then the chorus every single time. You know it's a good chorus when every single time it comes back, you're psyched. Because you just want to hear the flip-flop, tick-tock, pish-posh. I'm assigning points. And Alfred gets 11 extra points for using the term pish-posh. I don't know if that's a real term, but I like it. Gaius comes on, the drums are just going nutty over his verse. This is what I'm talking about. Sam's, Yamaha, and Koff killing it on the production here. Because when you listen to the album as many times as I did, including in the very frustrating circumstances, which I will describe to you at a later date, oh my God, you just learn to appreciate all these things. Gaius follows the theme. All of the guest verses follow the theme to a certain extent, less, and there's just all this noodling around before the chorus, and it's just beautiful. I'm going to go through the rest of the album a little bit quicker here, or even slower. I don't know. Watch My Hands has a harp and a flute to start. It's gentle and sweet. Summer is hot, babies and beaters, sweat beading under my t-shirt, sun hit it right. This is that Southern Gothic. This is his explaining the life, the world that he sees. Gleam on this chain, view from it all might be worth. Me and my sitting and listening, figuring what all the trees heard. We not the only ones, so when it comes to it, we pray both your knees work. Strange atmosphere that he's setting here. I'm here to pay grandma back for her time, and it's about life. It's so easy to write about death when none of y'all is really alive. Is magic alive? That's the question. Magic alive. Magic alive. What does it even mean? What does even the actual title of this album mean? And the title track? I have two answers. I'm Mr. Two today. One, it's like, it's alive, right? It's like magical. Magical, like it's magically made alive again. Or, it's like, life is magic. It's magical to be alive. You know, it's Father's Day. I think a lot about my dad. He died a couple of years ago. And I'm alive, and I get to be with my kids. I get to make them waffles and go see Kendrick Lamar in Hershey Park. I get to do all these great things. Life is magic. I read it as both of those. Then we get to Sugar Water featuring Anjamil, and I will only ever pronounce his name Kelkris because I can't help it. I'm a French professor, even though that's not how you pronounce his name. I apologize. I actually have two of my daughters looking at me through the window. Hi. there. She's pointing at something. Is there a deer? There's a deer back there? Really? Let me see. Is there really a deer? Well, anyways, now you get to see the back of my terrible haircut. I guess the song Sugar Water, and it's just this production, everybody. Just saxophone and rapping to start. Then the drum fills lead into this singing by Anjamil, almost gospel style. This album also, much like a lot of Southern Gothic music, has a mixture of sort of magical macabre, there's an airplane over, magical macabre, while also a kind of superstitious religiosity. And I feel like there's an intentional gospel sound in a lot of this music. Can't make peace, I'll give my soul. Stand-up bass, and claps, and the bass sounds like, I ain't going out like that, I ain't going out like that, I ain't going out by Cypress Hill, and it's all about resurrecting the dead, and then there's these little castanets with the drums, and the chorus in the back is so nice, and the drums are so fucking tight. The drums are tight like a toiger, okay? Yes, the drums are tight like a toiger. The Faja, okay? That's Happy Faja Day. Oh my God. Kelkris comes on, just overemphasized last syllables. Passed away yesterday, forever dog. My big bro told me every song you make is a picture of forever dog. I love Kelkris. I've only reviewed one of his albums, but like every time I see him, anytime he's involved in a project, it's going to be good. The fourth verse is where we have the return of the dead friend, we assume. By the way, If you didn't know this album was about a dead friend coming back to life, there's a good chance you wouldn't have picked it up. That's how loose the concept is. Like, it helps if you read it. If you read that paratext where the guy tells you this is what this is about. I can't believe this is finished. Looks to me, said there's no time to waste. Let's get back. Come on. Right? So he's just going right there. And there's a sense of regret. There's a sense of regret about having done this. What I done did is the question. And that reminds me of one of the best episodes of television made by a creep, Joss Whedon's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you've never seen the episode The Body, please watch it. It's all about how she almost resuscitates her mother from the grave. It's a beautiful scene. And damn it, spoilers, doesn't matter. And there's this amazing ending where like you think she's going to come back and she's going to be terrible. You just got to watch it. Then we get to Crooked Stick, I've already discussed. Recitative, which is the thing in opera where they just like talk in between songs. It's so annoying. I shall go over there. Who is coming up to here now? It is him, he is here. Well, then we must go. What are you going to say to me? Are you going to say things to me? Anyways, it's also a Toni Morrison book as well. Chopped up heart and drum. This is like maybe the most classical hip hop beat because it's all kind of chopped up. This pitched down voice. Back to wearing all my jewelry again. Black King, feel the fury again. I swim in for a judged by a jury of men. Circumstances make it absurd. Oh, I'll swim in fire before I'm judged by a jury of men. So it feels like maybe this is the resuscitated person coming back from life, talking about his power. I don't know. Killer verse from McKinley. It seems to be about the trouble of communicating. And then the second part, there's like a beat change. It's like this cool low bass keyboard with these cool drums. And there's this whole theme around Japan. Rising sun, when I wake up, you put the money in hand, because Japan is the land of the rising sun, which is what they said because they had a huge empire. Hey, Japan's awesome, but don't look up their imperial history. Rough. Or we stick you with the doohickey like you was leading Japan. So rising sun, because the idea was that the sun was their logo because it touched everywhere. Much like there's an expression, the sun never sets on the British Empire because they were all over the world. Hey, do you like England? Don't look up their imperial history. Imperialism. It's bad. Thank you. That's my hot political take. If you don't make mama mad, what's the fun in that? I'm trying to be everywhere that the sun is at. It's the sort of ego trip ambition of this character and or the character who's resuscitated. Just so many awesome, hot, like hard, ain't gonna hit him. We going stomp, 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 stomp. Hidden message in the Morse code. Go pop, pop, dash, pop. Antoinette, your man's got his head chopped off his top. Texted, please don't do it. Reply like dot, dot, dot. What is this? Where did this verse come from? Where did this awesome hard-ass verse come? This isn't Southern Gothic. This is just hip-hop right here. With a reference to Marie Antoinette, who was history's greatest scapegoat. Yeah, she wasn't the problem. She wasn't the problem, everybody. She was not the problem. The problem was the system. Melania Trump is not the problem, everybody. That's what it would be like, by the way. The way that we talk about Marie Antoinette, it would be like if the history of the Trump era was finished and everyone's conclusion was Melania Trump sucks. You'd be like, well, yeah, but that's not the point. Okay. And then this Teller Banks fella, speaking of McKinley Dixon and Teller Banks, just cool rhyme scheme, benefits, sending in, internet, get it next, Eminem, limb to limb, him and him, fence it then, pendulum. It's an awfully hot coffee pot. Run, 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 Part 2, military style march. I love just how tight these drums are, how low the horns are for the chorus. The heart is heavy, but it's never held alone. You keep it steady and you find your way home. There's a real hope in this album, even though it's kind of gothic. There's a real hope in this album, which is like the hope of family and togetherness. It gets a little bit too rock and rolly here for me at times. I just wrote out all the lyrics, but I don't need to. I just liked all the lyrics. Let's see. Let me see. Why did I copy all these lyrics? I watch him from the rooftop and you see the house lean, but at least hell's grass got a certain green outside, which leads into the song, we outside, rejoice, rejoice. Hey, did I tell you this is gospel or what? Okay. There's a huge amount of this to which, and I am going to quote Justin Hunt, I lack the perspective to properly contextualize a lot of this album because I'm A, not from the South, from the North, from Boston. Definition of a Yankee. I am not black. I am super duper white, so I do not understand the black American Southern culture here. And I am a Christian, but I was not raised in a Southern church. I was raised in an Episcopal church up north where the main tenet of the Episcopal Church is right after Revelations. There's a whole chapter about how you should have a stick up your butt at all times. Okay, that's the Episcopalian way. Shout out to all my Episcopals, all my Episcopals. So there's a whole amount of this that I don't quite understand. Like I understand there's something I don't understand about this correlation between this kind of magical thinking and the sort of black church, the black Southern church of this gospel. We outside rejoice, rejoice. But I love it. I just love it so much. Though an obvious choice, the child born under the sun, lift him up, we gonna hoist. When you yelling at the sky, hide the crack in your voice, because we outside, rejoice, rejoice. And it's like it's a story. Outside what? Outside what? Outside your life. It's partly about being outside of where you grew up. There's a whole verse where he's basically saying, look, I couldn't stay in whatever part of Virginia I'm from. I have to go make it. I have to symbolically get off of the porch and go and jump and be a part and be outside. But then also, it's like not being underground, not being dead, or outside. Like that's the whole good thing. There's a saying I have in my family. I'm a father of 4, and I take my kids on walks all the time. We're the only family that I know that goes on walks around our neighborhood like every single day. And every single time I say the same thing to the kids before we go. Good things happen when you go outside. It's true. So, there you go. All the Loved Ones, What Would We Do? Featuring Ice Cold Bishop and Pink Sifu. This might be my favorite beat. How many times have I said that on the album? I don't know, but it's bass-led and it's great. If you don't stop playing with me, my mama said she's going to whip your ass. It's unclear what it's about, but it's this connection of the protection of family, the protection of grandmothers, the protection of mothers. Again, I lack the perspective to properly contextualize. I did not grow up in the kind of family where we would say this kind of thing. Okay? Dana Gould once said about his Massachusetts family, our family crest is 2 lions with their backs to each other, and the slogan "Death Before Intimacy." That's kind of where I grew up, and so I find the family relationships in this album to be very close and very sweet. And it's interesting because it actually reminds me a lot of the of the Little Sims album too, and the Obong Jayat album I reviewed. Anyways, it's interesting. I guess it's, when one has societal privilege, you rely less on your family. So like, because realistically, I faced no meaningful marginalization or pressures or oppression from the outside, I find less comfort and solace and solidarity with my family. I don't know. I'm just riffing right here. It's Father's Day, everybody. But there might be something to that theory. If you're a sociologist, please tell me what it's called. Outcast style chorus, ice cold bishop, cool kind of high voice, all dedicated to his mother. Say her name in vain. No mama say no homie passed. Lost my pops when I was 1, so she was my only dad. Happy Father's Day to all the mothers out there who had to be the dad. It's interesting. She called me bro. She tripping. Say don't say bro back. Cool 80s drum machine fills. Pink Sifu's even more mysterious. Like all over the trauma. Still ain't healed. Fucked up. You got me down in my head. That's so homegrown. I swear. I don't know what you're talking about. Then we get to Fistful of Light. FFOL. This is my favorite beat. I don't know. It's super epic. The drums, the double hi hat. This kind of looseness and syncopation. Tons of what the drummers called ghost notes, where it's just like little tiny notes. And it's the intergenerational gifts, generational snapping. If I'm rapping, I'm using my grandfather's words when I write. The language passed down from my head to my heart, to my wrist, to my fist, to my fingers ignite. Eyes wide open, you fantasize about how you catching such a wonderful sight. Okay, Southern Gothic. Okay, this is a very powerful form of Southern Gothic because what he's implying is whatever his grandfather went through, which my grandfather went through some crazy stuff. Went through some crazy stuff. World War II. Saved artwork from the Nazis. I can guarantee you, whatever it was easier when he was sitting on top of his helmet. He actually sat on top of he sat on top of his helmet, and underneath the helmet was the original manuscript of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. But he sat on his helmet and the metal box that held the symphony because he didn't want to get his ass blown up. That right there, that's easier. That's easier than whatever McKinley Dixon's grandfather had to live through. So whatever was passed on from my grandfather comes through like that. This is what comes through from him. The language passed down from my head to my heart to my wrist to my fist. Wrist to my fist and my fingers ignite. That's the magic. That's the fist full of light. The magic is art, everybody. The magic is art. Because he's going to die a legend or he's not going to die at all. I'm getting actual goosebumps, everybody. Not just because it's about to rain. Beautiful. I really like Teller Banks here as well. Till the watch got more jewels in the face than a Kanye misquote. I'll work on that. You know what that means. That's funny. I mean, it's not funny what Kanye's saying, but that's a funny idea. Listen, gentle. Maybe this is my favorite beat. The faraway beat and the tinkling sounds. This is the most Lupe style. This just sounds super Lupe. Baby boy, just come in here. Never fear. Let me pull a quarter from out behind your ear. It's also magic time. Because the entire Aesop Rock album is about magic as well. I learned how to call the dead from the Reverend in the South made me realize that it's really hot in heaven. I'm sure every in this room can attest. I'm fickle with the way I expel pain from my chest. How he expresses pain. The way he's permitted to express pain. Where he's from. Heaven is hot. You just sit. You sit your fucking ass down and you think about that lyric for the next 10 seconds. Okay? That's my assignment to you. Okay? It's really hot in heaven. It's really hot in heaven. I never heard that idea. I thought that idea. Did my stupid computer just do that thing where it did a thumbs up? I apologize. I don't know how to handle my obs. Okay? Watch this. This is going to freak you out. What? It's supposed to do something. Got some angry families behind me. This is supposed to do something. It's supposed to do something. There you go. All right. Magic Alive, the thesis of the album, I got a plan with me. I got my plan, get with me in this ride. I'll make it so never die, maybe escape, we take the skies. All about the idea of never dying. And there is a way. There is a way to never die. Am I sweating through my shirt? I am. I'm a 47-year-old man. I got nothing to prove. Someone in the comments called me a DILF the other day. So I don't know if I like that. But that's okay. I guess it's better than being wow. I regret starting this line of conversation. Fun kind of choir in the back and the saxophone. The whole first verse is just so outstanding. Ha ha, you seen it too. Babies with sun in their eyes dancing under the moonlight. Hooting, hollering, clapping, never missing a beat. Till you seen it and rise and laugh in the street. It's alive. It's just, this is an album, because the first track, or whatever, one of the first tracks has that song, like, none of you know what it means to be alive, so no wonder it's so easy rapping about death. He's actually talking about life. And he's talking about life by processing it through resuscitating somebody who died. I'm my father's child, so of course I'm going to dip. The album ends with It Could Have Been Different, featuring Blue and Shamir, all about his artistic ambition. Again, because there, according to Francois Rabelais, his famous letter to his son, there are two ways to live forever. There's seminal propagation, which is to say having children, and then the other is creation, like making something that the world will remember forever. And that's what this is. This world will know our name. Okay. Grew up making humble packs like the world will know our name. Now we're staring out the window. Pray these wings can hold our frame. I just want to jump off the roof. So it's this weird kind of like self-ending fantasy mixed up with his great ambition and the childhood memories. Babies beating on their chest claim one day the world is ours till mama throw open the window and yell my name from afar, setting the image of the kid out there playing. Young McKinley, or young whatever character McKinley's playing, is out there and he's playing in the field and he's having fun with his friends, and then mom opens the door and says, McKinley, or whatever character McKinley's playing, come back, it's time for dinner. Insane production with this rising saxophone and the voice. He looks up to his poster and he asks, what does it think? And so that's where we get Blue. I assume that this poster is either a poster of Nas or Mobb Deep. Because I think he says something, but my something is older. So that made me think of just the cadence. And I just think of Nas posters. I just think of Nas. But that's what I think this is. But it's the rapper on the wall responding to him. I think you know that your answer is right in your catalog. Meaning, whatever it is you're looking to be, you've already done it. Congratulations, you are a successful artist. That's the end of this album. I love it. I love artists who are confident in their own success. So there's my review. What an album. I told you I'd talk about the maximum annoyance that I've had. The maximum annoyance is that I listened to this album. So I'll show you down there. So if you see down there, there's the willow tree, right? So you see that's the willow tree. And there was bushes as high as my head all around that. And there's tons of poison ivy. So I had to wear like a full-on hazmat Walter White suit. And I was sweating so much, and you can't touch your face when you're sweating, when you're doing poison ivy, because then you'd get the poison ivy on your face. So I was sweating so hard that I'd have to wait for the sweat to come down and hit this point of my nose and then go just to get it off. It was terrible. It was just hours upon hours. And I know I'm extremely lucky to live in a part of the country, A, where I can afford to own a house, B, no one else wants to live, but it's actually a super nice place, Rochester, New York. That should be our slogan. No one wants to live here, but it's a super nice place. And 3, I was lucky to get a job in 2010 when no one had jobs, so it was much more affordable to get a mortgage and much more affordable to get a house. I know I'm fortunate, so I'm not actually complaining about having a yard to pick out poison ivy. But I was listening to this album, and I had my headphones in, and I was sweating so hard that my headphones kept falling out of my ears. So I'd hear the album, I'd be like just sweating and just covered and just like, we're outside, rejoice, rejoice. I want to be inside. I don't want to be outside anymore. So anyways, that's my funny experience with that. All right, will you tell me what you think? I got to go back and finish up. I'm going to finish up the Poison Ivy project. Smash like, bucket, subscribe. Oh, you want to see me do the thing again with the obs? Look at this. Look at this. No, I said look at this. It's going to do a thing. Do the thing, obs. There you go. I don't know why I'm so dark in this whole situation. All right. Well then, until next time, rejoice. Have there been any birds back there? I don't think so. I think I got to move the bird feeder back. There's the camera.